Yo, British Seka, I got you a message.
About what?
My free-to-play account has been ruined.
Oh no.
British Seka, you are our last hope.
I know. Well, I've always been the real F2P god.
Okay, you're both ridiculous. Just like the intro of this video, please don't take this video seriously. This is actually just something I found on the internet and I want to compile it in a funny video for you guys, so hope you enjoy. There's a lot of tier lists in Genshin Impact, and many of them go over why they like one character versus another, why one character is better than another. And those are all very good based opinions. There's a lot of fact given out on those, but one of the things that I thought was most interesting is that in Genshin Impact, if you wanted to create a truly objective tier list, the only way to do it is by getting sources, information from all over, not from any one YouTube community, not from any one Twitch community, nothing like that. The only way that you could ever do it is if you got a bunch of different people that were the best of the players in Genshin Impact, got them all together and had them say, hey, this is what I use the most. Okay, now this is not going to be a fully objective tier list based upon what I would do. This is actually an objective tier list based upon what every player out there that does a 36-star clear in Spiral Abyss does. Now, these are not necessarily the best characters in Genshin Impact for clearing Spiral Abyss in order. This is actually going to be an objective list based upon what everyone does use, based upon percentage brackets. For the top bracket, we're going to be using 90% of players going to be best off with these characters. For the middle tier, for the meta tier bracket, we'll go for somewhere between 70 and 90%. For the mid tier bracket, we'll go for between 70% and 50%, and then below 50% all the way down to 10%, and then finally below 10% as the final bracket. And those are gonna be the brackets based on how we're gonna judge characters on how good they are, quote unquote, based upon how often people use them or choose to use them in Spiral Abyss. Right. Unlike most of my tier lists, what we'll do also is I will do this in an ordered tier list so that you'll be able to see in order what the characters are, so where they're placed in a tier list. And we have reference information that we'll source right now. So there is a website called the spiralabyss.org, and what it does is it rates the most used characters based on their level, constellation level, etc., going across the board, and talks about what are the most used characters in Spiral Abyss. And this is an actual thing that people have. It even goes over the best fit for each rating and how they've gone up or down in ratings based on the week. Based on this, I actually found the thresholds that every character is used at. First off, these characters right here, less than 10% of all Spiral Abyss teams utilize one of these characters. Chi-Chi, Ningguang, Noelle, Kaya, Yanfei, all versions of the Traveler. We have Sayu, Xinyan, Aloy, Razor, Lisa, and Amber. Now, Yanfei I kind of get because she is kind of a whale-esque character where you do need to have a lot of constellations for her to be like started to see a power stride. Same with Ningguang. Both of these characters are very much like that. The major issue with Ningguang, of course, is versus Yanfei is that Ningguang is a Geo character, whereas Yanfei is a Pyro character, so you get bigger reactions, of course, there. Kaya makes a ton of sense for not a lot of people using it because much people have a very low constellation. And Chi-Chi is arguably one of the worst characters in Genshin. Of course, she is a very, very weak character because she has no energy particle gain and she's very weak. The last character being Aloy, a lot of people are still working on her, thinking if she's good or not, and she's kind of like kind of a mid-range character. And these are all in order from top to bottom. So less than 10% of all players use Chi-Chi. It's about 9.6% of players all the way at the bottom with Amber, with less than 1% of players playing Chi-Chi. So this bracket is pretty low. All right, now we're gonna go into the next bracket, which is all niche character usage. All of these characters are somewhere between 40%. 10 to 40% of players will use these characters. We have the top bracket of these at 38% of players using Sucrose in someone on their teams, and the bottom of the tier list here with 11.4% on Kaching. So this is between 11.4 all the way to 38% of players using these characters. Very weird that Sucrose is so low, how so powerful character. And Jean also being very low as well. Fischl is kind of low rated as well. I'm very surprised that people are not using Fischl a lot, even though she is a good sub DPS character with only about 28% of people using her. Now, Klee is one of the highest revenue banners in Genshin, and even though she is a high revenue banner, she is a very low usage character, but she's at 28% as far as usage goes versus the character Diluc at 20% usage rate. So very interesting how these characters are not very much used. Rosaria is kind of a more difficult character to fit in your team compositions unless you're using Eula, and a lot of people don't have not summoned on banners that have had Rosaria constellations, so a lot of people won't be using her as much, so I definitely understand not using her. There's also less need to use her right away. Now, the most underrated character in this whole list is Beidou, and Beidou is sitting all the way at the bottom here with a whopping 17.6% usage rate. That's insanely low. Like, she is such a powerful sub DPS character and one of the best characters that have her sub DPS in Genshin, and it's crazy that she's so low, but it does make sense because the character Raiden Shogun does not interact with Beidou's ultimate, and because that does not happen, that makes a ton of sense. Now, going up in the tier list a little bit further, we're going between the characters that are above 40% usage rate all the way up to almost 70% or 69% if we want to do that. We have at the top of the list, we have Mona at 67.4% usage rate and Yoimiya, which is at 53%. So you can see of the characters in here, Yoimiya is a pretty well-used character and used at about the same rate as Zhao at 57% for his usage rate over here. Oh, actually, he's at 55 and she's at 53. So we have Albedo, which is actually super high rated at 57%. And we have Eula being used at 61.6. Diona over here rocking a very, very respectable 61%. Cartagos, because he did get his rerun banner, and of course he's really good at one of the best teams in the game at 61, and Kokomi at 67%, as well as Mona at 67%. So I think Kokomi is probably seeing a really high usage rate because she was on the most recent banner. A lot of people are trying her out, same with Tartaglia. So I'm not really thinking that she's going to be like a meta character there, but it's actually a really funny thing that she's used here. Now, the most meta characters in Genshin, these are characters that use anywhere between 70 to 90% of teams, are going to be Ayaka, Xingqiu, we got Venti, Ganyu, of course, we have Hu Tao and Zhangling. Now, to the national archons over here with Xingqiu and Zhangling, we got Ayaka, because she's been one of the most coveted characters since the launch of the game. Venti, the god archon himself, kind of a Giga Chad, and of course works really well with the teams here for Ganyu. And so you know, the usage rate between that are below 80%, the two lower used characters are between 79% at Hu Tao, 73 over here at Zhangling. We have Ganyu still used at 84%. We have Venti at 86%, Xingqiu at 88%, and then Ayaka at 89%. Now, above this, there are the four most used characters in Genshin. Are Raiden Shogun at 90.7%. We got Zhongli at 92.3%. We have Bennett at 93.9%, and Kazuha at 96.6%. Now, these are all based upon 34,000 36-star clears, and these are only based on 36-star clear people and the people that, of course, put their stuff forward for this. So this is super interesting to see that these are the most used characters in Spiral Abyss, the most coveted characters, and honestly, very interesting list. I would not rate characters in the tier list like this, but you know what? If we were just going on a purely objective 36-star Abyss list for what the most used characters are, this would be the tier list and how it would look. It's a really interesting list because it doesn't show you what's most fun, it shows you what is the most used for 36-star Abyss, which is super interesting.
Well, I thought this list was really interesting and very fun to check out, but I want to know what you guys think about these character usage rates in the comment section below. Let me know you guys think if this is a very interesting list, good list, bad list. What do you guys think? Have a great day, guys. Peace.